Welcome to Behind the Canvas, the official Art Wars after show. I am James Fudge, taking over from Numbskull as host for now, and today we'll be looking at Art Wars Series 7, Episode 7. This episode, the artists are going back to the basics. For the first time in Art Wars history, the artists are taking part in an unusual challenge we've never really done, where they can only use a humble pencil and piece of paper to create the most detailed piece of art they can. So that means the aim is to create the most detailed as possible. Alright, now let me emphasize two things. One, how incredibly difficult this can be for most of these artists are digital artists, and number two, this episode is probably the best in Art Wars history, so trust me, you ain't gonna want to miss it. Alright, so now that's all out the way, we will be going over every piece of art done this episode and tooting and booting them, and then we will reveal all the results and see what happened. So let's bloody get into it. Before we begin with thoughtless sketches, I just have to say how everyone truly has done incredible, and honestly, the fact that we can even give a boot to these people should be a crime. However, we will be nitpicking as this is probably one of the toughest top 6 we've ever seen. Anyways, let's get to it with thoughtless sketches. Now, as you can see, thoughtless sketches piece isn't the most finished of sorts. Sadly, they did run out of time and they used a bunch of extra time, but then they ended up with just submitting this instead of getting loads of penalties. And this alone, stunning. Obviously on the neck, those little illustrations aren't the cleanest, obviously because this basically is a sketch. So it is not finished, but you can see the potential this illustration has, but simply for the fact it's not finished, we're gonna have to give it a boot, sadly. Even though this alone, it blew my mind when I saw that this was a sketch. Next up is Daffy, and I simply have no words to describe how incredible this illustration is. In the history of Art Wars, we have probably never, ever seen such talent like this. It's insane the level of detail within this illustration. It's so crisp, so clean, and done with a pencil, people. And if you look in the background on the wall, you can see there's See, I can't even speak. It's taking my breath away. On the back wall, there are pictures hung up of one, the characters, two, on the left wall is like posters of the past art they've done on the show. It's Art Wars Inception, people. I can't. For that reason, this is getting a 2, and I just can't breathe. I honestly can't. Next up is the incredible Howard the Fuck. Now this illustration is one where I am leaning in between that 2 and boot. I have not a clue what to give them, and here's why. First of all, as an illustration, the sketch of it is just incredible. It's such a well-rounded illustration, except the middle bit is like wonky and off center, and I don't like that. I've only just noticed it. But second of all, the middle section feels like it doesn't have enough contrast within it, and for me, the detail gets lost and just feels slightly messy. There's just a bit too much going on, and it just doesn't feel clean enough for me, so I'm really sorry, but I'm gonna have to give it a boot. People are gonna hate me for that, but my show. Love ya. Mwah. I do know if Numbskull was here, the answers would be slightly different, probably. Cat Stack, they truly have made one of the best comebacks in Art Wars history after previously leaving the competition and returning in the same series. I mean, they're showing us skills we just never saw from them in their first 2 episodes. This, number 1 for Cat Stack, is incredible, but compared to their competition, it just doesn't meet that level. Once again, I think contrast here is very well executed. However, it just doesn't feel clean enough. That the gear sticks kind of and the control panel feels really kind of last minutey, and so does the background. I feel like you could have done something slightly more than just, but I guess it's kind of like that hyper speed vibes. But then Baby Yoda got done dirty. That's my opinion, and that's why I'm giving it, sadly, a boot. However, the Mandalorian in the middle, like the actual character, it's fabulously done. I can't fault that. But then the background, it takes away from it. Next up is the incredible Nikoj. No, I don't know. Again, this is another one I'm very in between for either a toot or a boot. Simply because it is just a tree, but it's probably the most sexy tree I've ever looked at in my entire life. Does it meet the detail brief? 110%. But I don't, do you know what? I'm gonna give it a 2 simply because it is such an incredible illustration. It's stunning. The realism aspect of it, I think, is very well done. But even when you zoom in on it, you start to see how it is just kind of just scribbles. But then from far away, it really does look and give that feel. But the way they've also used that lack of like, what's it called? Where the paper is the highlights. Obviously, that's kind of what everyone's been doing, but I think it's just very well done in this illustration. So I'm going to give it a 2 for sure. See, this is one thing Sunny's done that I think Daffy definitely did, and so did Howard, but no one beats Sunny when it comes to keeping their style intact. Sunny is just such an incredible artist and has such a solid style. And this illustration, I mean, I expected nothing different from them. The composure of it, the depth, the contrast, all those basic art skills, perfection. But could they go that extra mile like Daffy has today? 110%. I love this illustration, it's incredible. But then when you look at Daffy's is breathtaking. And this is just Sunny's art. Don't get me wrong, Sunny's art, immaculate French kiss. However, this, I just wanted that little more. But this is getting a 2 because, as I say, it's incredible. But when compared to Daffy's, I'll pick Daffy's. I'm very sorry. Now, it's pretty obvious who this top 2 is. Of course, it's Daffy. And they also won the main challenge. So here are the results of the actual challenge. We have Daffy as the winner, rightfully so. And then Sunny and Nikoj in the high placements, which I think I agree with. I 100% do agree with. And then the bottom end of the spectrum, we have no low placement as the incredible Howard has placed safe. And sadly, our bottom 2 are Cat and Thoughtless. So it's now time to take a look at our eliminated artist. So this vote was actually a unanimous decision, but not for the reasons you might think. After one of the bottom 2 expressed how they feel like it's their time to go, they're incredibly busy in the real world, they didn't mind being eliminated. So basically everyone just respected their wishes. And that does mean, sadly, leaving art was Series 7 in 6th place is Thoughtless Sketches. Thoughtless Sketches, you're the first contestant ever on the show from Zimbabwe. You did Zimbabwe proud. From Camp Whimsical to now, honestly, you've been a fabulous artist to work with. And I'm just so happy you're a part of the Art Wars family. And I hope this isn't the last time we see you on the show. So, after all of that, that is finally all we have time for. And there's nothing else to speak about for today's episode. So make sure to stay tuned because episode 8 and 9 are coming very soon. And that all-important grand final and rainbow carpet are just around the corner. So make sure you subscribe, like, and all that good stuff. Thank you very much. I've been James Fudge. Thank you for watching.